Hey YouTube, this is Evan Magician 34, and I have your Toon deck, your Toon World deck. This deck does have to focus around Toon World itself, and it's basically the focus of the deck is to frustrate and irritate your opponent to the point of wanting to tear their hair out. You will actually beat a surprising number of people with this deck. It's not necessarily a direct attack deck, but you got lots of outs to win. More importantly, this is a control-based deck. So we only run 2 copies of Toon World. And part of the reason for that is, number one, we don't have to have our tunes to win, but number two, we run 3 copies of Toon Table of Contents, which can search for any Toon card at all. It's just a godly search card. We also run 3 copies of Messenger of Peace. That kind of tells you what the plan of the deck is. We do have tunes that can attack under it. And you can also choose not to pay and have it die, so it's a very controllable card. 2 copies of Swords of Revealing Light. Yes, with the new September ban list, this card is now at 3, but we're running 2 on purpose, mainly because it's kind of time limited and a few other factors, but we're running 2 on purpose. We're also running 2 copies of Pot of Duality, gives you consistency, lets you search up. We don't have to special summon as often as you might think for a Toon deck, so Pot of Duality is a good option. We also run 2 copies of Wave Motion Cannon. Yes, we could run 3, but we're only running 2. It's what fits in the deck. We are sometimes short of like actual kill cards, and it's nice to have extra targets for MST sometimes, which Wave Motion really likes to suck up MST. So we do run 2 copies of it for those reasons. 1 copy of Monster Reborn. Lots of good targets in this deck, actually. Dark Hole. Speaks for itself. Their monsters will almost always be more worth killing than yours are worth saving. And we run 3 copies of Skill Drain. Remember your tunes, if Toon World gets destroyed, die because of the effect of Skill Drain when their own effect when Toon World is destroyed. So Skill Drain can stop that and keep them alive. They'll essentially be vanilla monsters, but it's better to have a bunch of vanilla monsters than none at all. It also frustrates and helps paralyze a lot of other decks out there, so it gives you a high element of control. We also run Solemn Judgment. Yes, we're paying a lot of life points here with Toon World and Skill Drain and Solemn Judgment, but we do have ways to fix that. This is just a catch-all. Remember, you can always afford to pay half your life points, so Solemn Judgment is never too high of a cost. And since we already got monster effects kind of nipped, we are also running 3 copies of Dark Bribe, because a lot of your big threats that remain that the rest of the deck can handle are obviously things like MST and Heavy Storm. But Dark Bribe can also solve some other problems for you, and drawing them the card can even be a boon under the right circumstances. So definitely running 3 copies of Bribe. 1 copy of Starlight Road. There aren't as many mass sweeps as you would think that are dangerous for you, but obviously Heavy Storm is a big one. And if this is in your opening hand, you can set a bunch of cards with confidence because of this as you're out. We also run 2 copies of Torrential Tribute, Dark Hole at Trap Speed. It's just good to have the ability to clean off those monsters, buy yourself some time. We also run 1 copy of Ceasefire, one of the best burn cards ever. It's very chainable, helps get you that damage you may need to help kind of seal the deal on your opponent. Enough said there. On to the monsters. We run 3 copies of Toon Gemini Elf because it's debatably the best toon ever. You can hide behind it with Messenger. If this thing does get to attacking directly with Toon World, it's devastating. Just a really good card all the way around. I mean, it's Donzaluga with a direct attack. So there you go. Just an excellent card there. And it doesn't have to have Toon World on the field to come out, remember. Any 1900-point 4-star is pretty imposing to your opponent, especially early game. We have Toon Cannon Soldier, just 1 copy, but we can search him. He can deal some last-minute damage with his effect, sure. But more importantly, he can also attack under Messenger of Peace. And of course, direct attacking with Toon World. We also have Toon Masked Sorcerer for a similar reason. And if he actually starts hitting directly and drawing you those cards, that can be a big advantage for you with your strategies. He's not quite as big as Cannon Soldier, but he's got the 1400-point defense, which with Messenger is pretty much invincible. So, good advantage there. Toon Goblin Attack Force. Basically, he's in here because he's searchable, and he's just a big wall that you can put out early game. And obviously, you can hide behind him with Messenger too. And his Direct 23 can be imposing late game if your opponent's not careful. So for that reason, he does get chosen. We do run 1. We do have Toon Summon Skull. He's the only really problematic to summon card, but under the right circumstances, that 25 every turn really starts to hurt your opponent. We're also running him because he can be Monster Reborn back, which can be not too shabby at all. You don't necessarily have to run him, but I do like running him. He's only the 1 tribute, and under the right circumstances, he can be a way of tributing off, say, your Sangan or something like that. We do run him. He's coming up in a little bit. For skill drain, we also run Barbaros, especially if they say MST your messenger or your swords or something like that and come in to attack over your 1900 point guy. You can then chain your skill drain, deal some heavy damage that way. It's a good early game monster too. Another card that likes skill drain, but he's also an alternate win condition in this deck, even if his effect is active and skill drain's not out. Because decking your opponent out is a very real possibility, especially if you have messenger swords, etc. So, yeah, we do run one copy of him, and he's also searchable with Sangan. He gets lots of things that you've just seen, and a couple of things you're about to see. He's just a natural choice for the deck, of course. We have Neospatian Air Hummingbird, one of your best cards to see early game, especially with some good defensive cards to keep him alive. Obviously, with skill drain on the field, you want to kind of, well, not run him for the most part, unless you're going to use him as like a synchro fodder or something. But his ability to gain you a lot of life points very quickly definitely makes him worthy of consideration, and that's why he's in here. Obviously, play him at the right times, play him judiciously. Don't necessarily flip that skill drain first chance you get, but he can do a lot for you. Golden Ladybug is the other life point gainer. Obviously, just get it in your hand, start flipping it every turn, every turn, every turn. Really helps defray that life point cost stuff you're going to be hurting from. We also run 2 copies of Effect Veiler. It's your insurance policy basically for when skill drain goes away, but it's also your tuner. When your opponent finally does punch through, they may only have 1 card they're counting on to seal the deal, and this totally gets around it for the most part. And a lot of people may not expect Effect Veiler with skill drain, so it's kind of a double whammy in that you can make them misplay without realizing it. Onto the extra deck, we have Mistworm, mostly because, well, we can make him, and he has a good effect. Stardust Dragon, mostly for Starlight Road, but you could sink for him, of course. Scrap Dragon. Black Rose Dragon. Ancient Sacred Wyvern, obviously kind of a niche card, but it does have its right timings. Gravity Warrior, he's your 6-star target. Remember, no Bryanak anymore. 5 is the level we're going to be sinking for the most. We have Cataster, but we also have Android, and she gains you life points, remember. So, under certain circumstances, she can be a much better choice even than your other 5 stars, just because she's going to be gaining you those life points while you're holding your opponent down. Scarred Warrior, under the right circumstances, it's nice to have his defense and his ability to just, suck up that 1 attack per turn. So we do include him because he's easy to make. We do have Armory Arm because he's not too hard to make. He can pump your tunes, sure, for 1,000, but also you can say use your 1-star tuner and your 3-star monster to make something that you can hide behind with Messenger if you need to. Formula Synchron, it's just a nice option to have. Lets you draw that card. Weaken Xyz into Utopia, and his attack negation straight up can be very useful depending on your situation, so we do need him as an option. We also have Maestroke. He has different uses under different circumstances, but he's still very much worth including. We don't Xyz for 3 easily, but when we do, we definitely want to have Zenmaines and Levier, because obviously there are lots of cool options for them and tricks, and you wouldn't want to be without them. So anyway, that is the Toon deck, and until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more cool content.